Hi, everyone. Thank you for taking the time to follow along this 30-minute presentation. So what we'll be doing here in this 30-minute presentation is going through the main features of the platform. So we'll be looking at how to set up your workspace, how to move modules around within the workspace, and also obviously adding different modules or deleting them. So we'll be looking at all of that, and then we'll be looking specifically at the charts as well. So specifically at the settings within the charts, how to set them up the way you want, and then also how to place trades. And you can place trades in many different ways. So we'll be looking at how to place trades in the chart, in the DOM, how to set up brackets as well to protect your positions. And if any questions come up, feel free to use the chat, and we can go through those questions at the end as well. Okay, so you should all be able to see my screen. I've got this default workspace open here. So you should see something similar the first time you log in. Now, you may have made some changes now, but this is the default workspace. You'll see there's a dome over here, a ladder, and then there's two charts, and there's a quote board, and then order and position information down in the bottom right. And all of these different windows, we call these modules. And the nice thing about Tradovate is you can simply add additional modules that you need or remove them that you don't need. Now you can also see tabs. So up here you can see there's multiple chart tabs. So if you don't have multiple screens, or you do, but you just want to see a lot of different things, you can use these tabs to keep everything organized, and it just doesn't take up a whole lot of screen real estate. Now to begin, if you wanted to say remove a module, let's just say we don't necessarily need two charts here, we just want to have one bigger chart. Now you can go hover over the tab, click on the X for that particular chart module, and that'll just remove that particular one. Then you'll see there's one other chart tab that remains. So we can click on them individually like this, and that will then eventually remove the entire module. And now this one remaining chart will just take over that void. So it'll just take over that empty space. Now the same thing here for the quote boards. Let's just say we don't need all of these quote boards. You could go in and individually close whichever ones you don't need, or you could just click on the X right here to close them. So we'll do that now, and you can see the quote board has now disappeared. It leaves us with this order and position module, and we can take a look at that here in a moment as well. Now, first, let's look at adding some additional modules to our workspace. So if you want to add something that's new that you don't have in your workspace yet, then what you need to do is go to the Add Modules Plus icon in the upper left-hand side, and you'll find all of the modules that are available right here. And now you can always go to the Add Modules to add something. Like if you wanted to add another chart, you can go here as well. But if you wanted to add something that you don't have, like a tick stream, for example, like a time and sales tape, well, you would find that here, and you can add it to your workspace by clicking and dragging. So if I click and hold and drag this, you can see the dotted outline will show me where it will be placed if I were to drop it right there. Now I'm going to place it just here along this dome. So I'm going to drop it right there. And now I have my new tick stream time and sales window, my module, but it obviously doesn't have a symbol yet. So if I wanted to add a ES tick stream, well, I can go into the search and I can just type in ES, and I'll find all the E-mini S&P 500 expiration months. This is the current one, the September, so the ESU1, that's the front month. So if you don't know the symbol, you could also just type in E-mini. For example, in my case, I'm looking for the E-mini S&P. So I type in E-mini, and then you can find all the contracts that match that description. ESU1 is one of them. So I can select it, click on the blue select button, and it loads my time and sales. I'm going to just close this for now and go back to the add modules. So I can just show a few other things that we have that are not included in the main default workspace. So obviously quote board, chart, and dome, those were already in there. Position orders as well. But there's some other things like the performance center, which is a very useful tool. And I will pull that up at the end after we've done some trades, because this will give you a very easy to understand view of your trades. And it will give you a lot of data corresponding to those trades. Now you can also do spreads on futures. So we have a spread matrix for that. And we offer long options on futures. So we have a designated options chain module for that as well. You can code your own indicators. So that's under the Code Explorer. And these other modules right here, these are mainly for analysis, or like an activity log if you wanted to review your past activity. The same thing applies for the reports, so you can pull up your order reports, and similar to the Performance Center, you can look at your past trades. And yeah, there's a news and there's a chat to reach out to our support as well. So all of these modules can be found right here. The workspace templates, and I would suggest using the workspace templates to save your workspace under a new name. As you can see, it's default right now because I started with my default workspace, but you may want to go ahead here and just change that to your own workspace. Let's call that layout 812 save. Okay, so now we've done that, and now you can see here we've saved it under a new name. The good thing about that is if you ever wanted to create a different workspace, you can have multiple names, multiple template names. And if you ever wanted to go back to the default workspace, you can use the reset default workspace, but it won't overwrite your settings right now. If I hadn't changed my workspace name, it would have overwritten the changes I made. All right, going back to the workspace that we have, we looked at adding modules by using the plus. You can also, if you wanted to add something of the same type, like adding a new chart, you can use the new tab plus right here. So I'm going to click on the new tab. Let's just do ES since that's already in here. Click on select, and we've added a new chart. So that's a very quick way to add an existing module type or a new dome. Click right here. Now let's do the NQ, for example. Type in NQ September, and it's there. So that's very quick and easy to do. Also, another thing that's useful is switching between symbols. Now, let's just say we have an ES chart, but we want to quickly look at the NQ chart, but we don't necessarily want to have two separate charts for it. We can click on the symbol in the tab, click on the other symbol that we want to change to, and the chart is already switched over to the other symbol. Let's go back to the ES chart now. And okay, now one other thing here in terms of managing the workspace, we saw that earlier with the tick stream. You can click and drag, and it'll allow you to position it where you want. Same thing applies for existing modules. So let's say this chart, we want to have this on the other side of the dome here to the left. What we do is we click and hold the chart tab up here, and then simply drag it to wherever we want it. I'm going to place it right here to the left, and let us close these other modules up. So now we can have it positioned like so. We can have a chart here on the left, a dome, and then order and position information over here, or you can click and drag this and place this down below where it was. So there's really a lot of different ways to set up your workspace, and you're really free to set it up the way you want. Every time you make those changes, they automatically save as well. So there's no need to manually go and save any changes. Okay, let's now look at the chart. I'm going to maximize this chart by clicking on the full size icon, that arrow. Maximize the chart so we can take a look at the settings and how how to set everything up. So most of the settings you'll find in the chart will be in the top left corner over here. So those are really the majority of the settings. Starting in the top left corner, there's a magnifying glass, a plus and a minus. So this, as you can imagine, it's the zoom in and out of the chart. Now, when you click on the zoom in, I'm clicking on it now, nothing happens. So what you have to do here is you click on the zoom in. Next is you click somewhere in the chart, let's say over here, and then just simply move the mouse to the area that you want to highlight, really, and click again. So now I've zoomed into that highlighted area, and you can do that again if you want to zoom in further. It'll just zoom into that specific area. If you click on the minus now, it'll take you back one step to the previous zoom, and then now back to where we were. If you continuously click on the minus, it'll just add more data. That's one way to zoom in and out. Another way, if you have a scroll wheel on your mouse, you can scroll up. That's what I'm doing right now, and it'll allow you to zoom in, and I'm scrolling down, it'll zoom out. So showing or hiding candles, essentially. What I've also done is I've clicked and dragged to move the chart. So that's how you would move to the left and right, by clicking and dragging. Okay, going back to these settings, this is a 5-minute time frame. You can see that's what it's set to now. If you click on this, the drop down will give you some different options. These are just frequently used, or I guess a popular time frame. So they're up here in the top of this drop down. You can also set your own custom time frame. So if you click on custom time and select, say, 2 minutes, now we have a 2-minute time frame. So that's under the custom time. Now, recent custom time frames, these are the ones that you've been using recently. So obviously the 2-minute one, we just used that just now. I've also used a 3-minute and 1 second. So these are just ones that I've been using in the recent past, and you can select these without having to manually configure them each time, just to save time. And as you can tell here, we don't just have time-based time periods, but we have, you can load tick charts, volume charts, range bars, and also second based. So you could do very short time periods as well. So if you want to see like a 10-second chart, you can do that as well. Let's go to a 1 minute now, and I'm going to go to the next setting, which is the chart type. So right now, hovering over it, it says we have a candlestick chart, and you could also see that as a bar chart if you wanted to, or see a line chart. And then these other interesting ones, this bid-ask volume chart type, let me just click on that. It will give you, it's a bit like a candlestick chart, but it gives you more detail in terms of the traded volume. And really what you need to do here is probably zoom in a bit more. And I'm going to do that just to give you an idea of what the bid-ask volume chart really shows you. Well, at first glance, you can see, obviously this is just a 1 minute time frame, but you can see within that 1 minute, you can see here where the volume has been traded. Let's switch to a 5 minute, might give us a better impression. Like over here, you can see this bid-ask volume bar. You can see the bulk of the volume is traded down here and not so much at the top. If we zoom in more, and we could use our zoom in and just look at a few candles. Now you can see these particular 5 minute blocks of time. You can see where the buys and the sells were occurring. So you can see the number of contracts traded. That's the bid-ask volume chart type. Now Heikin Ashi is like a candlestick, but it's a more smoothed, gives you a good sense of what the trend is like. And then there's also Renko point and figure charts. Those are not time-based. So they're based on how if the price moves, that's when new Renko bricks will form. And if there's no change in price, you won't see anything happen to the chart. TPO charts is one of the latest chart types additions that we've got here, and what this will show you is it's going to be a it's going to give you a like a histogram of where the price is traded during the day. That's really what it's telling you. And we actually have some webinars on this. So if you go to our YouTube page, you'll find some very good webinars specifically on TPO charts by an expert who really goes through the nitty-gritty of TPOs. So feel free to take a look at those. But I just wanted to mention that we have them, and just the basics of this is it's always a 30-minute time frame that's used, and you can see each letter is like a 30-minute block of time. So every time there's a 30 minutes passes, you'll get a new letter. If you left click on this TPO chart, you'll see you have the ability to do a few things like splitting this profile. If I do that, it becomes more like a classical candlestick chart, bar chart, where you can see every 30 minutes you have a letter. It tells you where the price has been traded. And when you collapse that, no, it's not the split, it's the undo split, then it's going to look like this, and it's going to be more like a histogram. So you can see where the price is traded for the majority of the day so far. And then it also has a volume profile where you can see the number of contracts traded at each price level. Now, if you want to set up your profile or your TPO, you can hover over somewhere in this TPO, double click it, and you'll get to the chart editor. And then you could add things like your chart, the session time, when do you want the TPO to begin, to end? Do you want to add another session, like an overnight session, for example? So there's lots of different settings. And again, that webinar will be useful to understand how to use the TPO charts. Going to go back to candlesticks now, and let me switch it back to a 1 minute as well. Okay, let's go to the chart settings. So in this chart settings icon, you'll find another drop-down menu. I'm not going to go into too much detail here. Most of it is pretty self-explanatory. Under the fills and orders, it's got some useful settings in here. So things like if you place an order, do you want that order to be visible in the chart? That's currently enabled. Do you want to see the lines for those orders? So that's going to be like a horizontal line across the chart. Now, if you place trades, do you want those fills to show? Their little triangles in the chart telling you where your entry and the exit points were. And then there's also a line that connects the two. So that's something that's also currently enabled. I'm going to leave all of this checked, because when we start placing a few test trades later on, you'll see what I mean about the show fills and where the lines are and how they connect the fills. Let's go back and we'll go to the price levels menu here. This will be just a way to show where the last traded price is. For example, this line, I'm not quite sure what color that is, like a salmon color almost, a light orange. That's the last traded price. So it'll just it'll immediately show you where the price is currently trading at. And then we also have this currently enabled. I think that's the default settings, a high and low of the day. So if we look at the chart, we're actually almost at the high right now. So that green line, if we have to probably scroll out a bit, there we go, to see the low. This red line depicts the low of the day. So those are currently enabled. And there's a few other things like the middle price of the day. You can also enable the open of today's session. Apart from that, there's the continuous auto fit. This is something that might be useful to sometimes turn off, and I'll explain why. So right now, let's just say you wanted to place an order or check the price above the current price. Now, clicking and dragging will allow you to do that. However, you can see it snaps back. Or if you wanted to adjust the price scaling over here on the right-hand side, let's just say you wanted to you wanted to stretch that out a bit more. So what you do is you hover over the axis and then start scrolling up like this. But you'll notice the price will snap back when it does that. So you need to go to continuous auto fit and then turn that off. With that turned off, you're now free to adjust this. See, I can compress this whole scale or stretch it out, and it's not going to snap back. Same thing applies for clicking and dragging like so. You can now do that without it snapping back. And if you do want to reset the chart, like have the chart centered, you just double click the price axis and it does that for you. So just a question of double clicking and it resets it. Oh, these profiles here on the right hand side, this gray one is the volume profile, so that'll tell you how much volume is traded at each price level. That will also give you the numbers, but the bid and offer, so the level 2 data, this green and red, that's the how many buy limits and sell limits are currently working at the exchange right now. So it's the live working orders. And you can also go and either show them or hide them by clicking on these, either the market depth, that'll be the red and green histogram, and the day volume profile, that's the number of contracts traded. So you can hide that as well if you wanted to. Now moving on to the configure chart elements, this is something that you would use if you need to remove or edit indicators. Right now, you can see there's 3 indicators currently in our chart. And if you wanted to say remove a particular indicator, you click on the trash can, that'll just remove it from the chart. Or if you wanted to not delete it, but just not show it right away, you can make it invisible by clicking this little eyeball icon, and this will remove it. And if you click this back again, you'll notice it'll appear again. So that's a quick way to just hide a particular chart or a particular indicator. If you click on this symbol, you'll have the chart editor. So here you can change things like the candlestick colors, and obviously you can do the same thing for the other chart types as well. All right, I want to show you one more thing here, and that's the drawing tools. So this icon right here will take you to the drawing tools, and you can add things like trend lines or multi lines. You can do horizontal lines, Fibonacci retracements. You can add volume profiles as well. So there's lots of different drawing tools available. You can also do like a text or a shape like these. So you can find those under the drawing tools. Basically, the principle is the same. You select whichever drawing you want to use, like a line. You click on the price or in the chart where you want to start that drawing tool, and then just simply find your second point, click on that, and then you've drawn your line. So it's the same process for the other drawing tools as well, clicking and then moving the cursor and clicking again. Now you can always adjust that line if you want to move it all the way like this, or if you want to just adjust the angle. If you double click the line, it'll take you to the settings for that line, so you can change the color of the line, for example, the chart or the thickness of it, if you want to have it either a solid or a dotted line, things like that. Now you can also extend it out. So if you want to have it out, extend it out into the future, you select array, or if you want to have it extended out both into the future and into the past, you select a line. I'm going to go with array. I'm going to save it. So now you can see it extends out. So that's the drawing tools. I'm going to just make this chart smaller again, go back to our main workspace here, and let's look at placing trades. And you'll notice in the default workspace there's an order ticket as well. So you could just use an order ticket to place a simple order by selecting buy or sell, the quantity, at which price do you want to enter, or do you want to enter at the market price. So you can use a simple order ticket. However, I would say probably the majority of our users, they will trade off of the DOM or the chart. I would say the vast majority will trade off of either two or both. So I'm going to close this order ticket for now, just so we have the DOM and the chart. Now, if we want to look at the placing trades from the chart first, so to do that, you'll find there's buttons up here, the buy market, sell market buttons, just to get you in and out of a position at the market price. You can use those buttons. Same thing applies for the DOM, by the way. And so we're on the ES now. So we'll stay with the ES, and let's change that DOM to an ES as well, so we have the same symbol for both modules. So if we wanted to buy one at the market, we can either have this confirmation. I currently have it turned on, and now it's filled the order, so you can see I'm in a position now. And you can also see in the chart this little triangle. This is the show fills, this little blue triangle telling me that that's where I entered the trade. So that's because we have that enabled. You can see the floating P&L, the open P&L right here, and your entry price will be shown here. Now you can just get out at the market price, and an easy way to do that, if you just want to flatten the position, then you could use the exit at market and cancel button right here. That'll simply close the position, and if there are any working orders, it would cancel those as well. In my case, I didn't have any working orders. Now that's just a way to get in and out at the market. This is a limit order option. So if you want to get in at a limit price, you can place a buy limit at the best bid or a sell limit at the best offer price. So that's what these buttons are for. Alternatively, you could do that manually if you want to place an order at a slightly different price. Let's just say you want to get in over here when the price goes down, you want to buy. Well, you can click on that price, select buy limit, and now we have a working order for that at that price. Now, if you could always adjust it by clicking and dragging the order in the price axis, and you'll notice it'll just adjust it. And if the price does tick down, then it'll get filled at some point, and we'll have an open position. Now, we don't have any protection for this, so we just have an open position, no stop loss, no take profit. You can set those up by going to the bracket settings. Right now, you can see they're turned off, and you have to click on the gear right here to get that to get the brackets enabled. So we're going to go on there now. I'm going to let this order work. Okay, it just got filled now, so you can see we're in a position, but no stop loss, no take profit. So what we need to do here is go to the brackets gear. That opens up the bracket settings. And next, what we'll do is we'll just give this a template name. So I'm going to click on this gray plus right here and call this ES bracket test. There we go. And this show in ticks, this is really a personal preference. So you can have this show in ticks if you wanted to. What that simply means is that the take profit and stop loss numbers right here will be a number of ticks, not points or a dollar amount. So if I have a 2-tick take profit, that's half a point. So that's very close. If I change it to delta price, that's simply how many points distance wise the stop loss and take profit will be. That's half a point. So let's increase that to, maybe we'll do a 3-point take profit and maybe a 2-point stop loss. So you can have this set up this way. And if you wanted to, if you have let's just say you're buying or selling 2 contracts at a time, you could have multi brackets. You could have another stop loss and another take profit. Let's say this one we want at 4 points, and we can make that stop a bit wider as well, maybe 3 points for the second bracket. So now if we buy or sell 2 ES, we'll have 2 brackets protecting this position. Well, I'm going to save this. Now we have this open position. It doesn't have a bracket, and you cannot use those brackets to protect an existing open position. You'd have to manually do that. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get out of this trade, exit at market. So I flatten the position, and now you can see where those lines are too. You can see the entry point, exit point right here. That's our trade. Now what we'll do is we're going to find that template that I just saved. So the ES bracket test. So that's currently selected. Now what I'll do as well is I'm going to change this to 2 contracts. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to buy or sell 2, and then you'll see the brackets will be working. So maybe we'll do a sell. I'm going to click right here above the price and do a sell to limit, and you'll notice when I do that, it has the 2 brackets, 2 stop losses and 2 take profits. And you can see also those lines, those arrows will indicate that these are all brackets associated with this parent order. And if you adjust the entry, you'll notice they all adjust at the same time. So there's no need to change them all manually one at a time. I'm going to remove the order confirmations just so you can see what that looks like. When you don't have the confirmations, you can very easily and quickly modify an order. See if we can get this order filled. There we go. So we're in a position now of 2 contracts. We have our 2 take profits and 2 stop losses right here. Sometimes these price levels can be a little bit confusing when you're dealing with brackets. I'm going to remove those for now, just so we have 2 green lines up at the top and then 2 down below. So this is these are the buy stop losses, and these are the buy limits. Now, looking at the dome, you can see the position is also showing in the dome, same thing. And you'll also see those brackets right here. And really placing these orders in the dome will be very similar to the way we did it in the chart. What I'll do is I'll exit this position at the market just so we get out of this trade. You see all the brackets are canceled. So if we wanted to trade from the dome, you can do so by, again, if you want to use your brackets, you can select this right here. That's the one we just created. And that now you can say, well, I'm just going to buy 1 contract, buy at the market. So we have our position, and we have our stop loss and take profit. So we've enabled the brackets prior to placing the order. And we can modify orders in a similar way by clicking and dragging them. There we go. If we can try to get this order, hit this target, then we'll be out at that price, and then the stop loss will cancel as well, which just happened now. Now, if you want to place an order below the price, that would be a limit order, a buy limit down here. So we have to left click right here to place that buy limit. If we want to sell above the price, then that would be a sell limit. So that's left clicking in this sell column. If we want to buy above the current price, that's a stop order. So that requires you to right click above the dome. So you have to right click right here, and that places a buy stop. Same thing on the other side here on the sell side. If you want to sell below the price, be a sell stop. So you have to right click for that. Now, if you wanted to change that and not have to worry about left clicking and right clicking, you could go to your view settings gear in the dome, go to the settings, and then this second option, you'd have to select that instead. Limit order left click, stop order left click. So what that means is now you can left click for anything, and it's going to detect where you're placing the order, and it's going to place the correct order type. So that might be easier than having to remember what the left clicking and right clicking is for. So now I can simply left click in any spot. Now, lastly, I just want to show you the performance center that I mentioned at the beginning. The performance center right here. Let me click and drag that into our workspace, and I'm going to place it as a new tab right beside my chart. So this will show you the trades that we've done. So you can see, well, gross P&L 0. So we've had actually two winning trade and two losing trades, but one of them, or two of them making $50 and then the other two losing a total of 50. So we lost in terms of the net P&L because we paid the fees. But this this is a very useful module because it updates in real time as well. So if we open a position and get out of that trade right away, now you'll notice changes to 5 trades that we've done today, the number of contracts traded updates. So everything updates right away. And looking further down, you'll see very clearly the winning versus losing ratio, your P&L history. So when you've traded during the day, when have you been trading better than other times of the day? So you can kind of look at that for your trading history and seeing where you could perhaps improve. Further down, you'll actually see the breakdown. So you'll see the trades that were placed, how long you were in the trade for, the P&L for each of those trades, how many contracts. So all of that information will be under the Performance Center. So probably worth keeping open as a module. And even if it's just a tab like this, you can just glance at it whenever you have to, and that'll just probably be useful and add value to your trading. All right, well, that's basically all I have time for in this 30-minute presentation. There might be some questions that came through. Let me just see if I can have a quick look at those. If there are any other questions, feel free to just send those through in the chat. Okay, yeah, so in terms of the membership, I didn't really talk about that here, but there are membership plans that you can sign up for. The annual commission-free membership is $2,388, so basically almost $2,400 a year, and that offers you commission-free trading. Let me see if I can find that here. This table, let me zoom in a bit more, will tell you really that it'll give you a good comparison as to what the total cost would be. Let's see if we can find the ES. Here we go. So typically you pay $2.13 per side on the ES. Now that would be less if you go with our active trader $99 a month option. It reduces the commissions to 19 cents as opposed to 79 cents. So it's a 60 cents discount. On the commission free, that $2,400 one, that will bring it down to zero. So then the only thing you're paying is exchange and NFA and clearing fees. So that's $1.34 for the E-mini, S&P, or NASDAQ. And on the micros, obviously even less because everything's just lower on the micros. So you're paying only 36 cents instead of 61 cents on the regular membership free, where you do pay a commission. So take a look at this all-in rates table. That could be useful to just, and then obviously you need to know approximately how many contracts you trade on a monthly basis, and then you can figure out whether or not it makes sense to subscribe to that. Oh, that's a good question. I'm using the web version right now because I want to show you how the web version looks and what you can do with it, because you can really do everything else, or everything that the downloadable you can do on the web version, except for popping out modules. So if you wanted to have a separate chart or a separate dome on a different screen, well, you need to use the downloadable version for that, and you can simply left click on these buttons, on these icons, and they'll pop out right away. That's the only difference. So if you're using a one screen setup, then you can use the web version just as well as the downloadable, just as fast and responsive. Well, about indicators. It's another good point. I did not bring that up. There is a community indicators section right here. So you'll be able to find a lot of indicators that may not be available by default. So you can search for, there's a question about the standard deviation channel. I'm not sure if we have that. Let me just take a quick look. Yeah, we do actually, standard deviation channels. So you can find that on the community page and then install that, and then it's just going to be available to you. It's all free. And so if you don't find it in the indicators section right here, and you can search for it as well, like search standard, I don't see anything right away, then go to the community indicators, search for it over there. And they're adding new indicators almost every day, I think. So there's a lot of resources, a lot of good indicators out there. So feel free to take a look at that. Like I said, it's all free of charge. Okay, well, if any questions come up, any additional questions, one good resource is the Tradovate help right here. So you can click on that. And there's lots of interactive how-tos. So for example, how to pull up a chart, and what can I do with a chart? Well, you can click on the charts overview. It's going to tell you every single step, well, what to do. Now you can tell, okay, set the quantity to something else, and then go to the next button. It's going to tell you what everything is, basically. So it's a very useful way to learn the platform, these interactive walk-me's. And then also, if you have questions, you can always reach out to us by chat. So you can use this chat button over here and reach out to us, and we're always glad to help. All right, everyone. Well, thank you very much for your time, and hopefully I'll speak to you in the future. And feel free to sign up for another one of these if you feel like that could be useful. All right, have a good day. Bye-bye.